Wise. Today, I will be talking to you and persuading you on ethically sourced coffee. Why we should buy ethically sourced coffee. Now, to educate on ethical reasons on what is so different about buying coffee fairly. Now, my specific goal, why should you care about the ethics behind your cup of coffee? Now, there's come a time in our culture where we really need to sit back and care more about the exported goods in our country. Not only where are they coming from, but what conditions are the workers under during every phase of the production. Now, to ask you a question, do you think when you can buy 48 ounces of coffee for $5.85 that someone down the line wasn't treated unfairly? Now, I believe that even though people may not care as much about how their coffee tastes, they care more about how those people whose hands it went through were treated fairly or equally. Now, again, I'm a homebrewer and coffee professional, shorts, but heavily involved in the specialty coffee community. That's why I care so much about the people and everything there is to do around coffee, because it's something that gets bypassed on more than anyone would know. Now, again, there's come a time in our culture we really need to sit back and think and talk about why these people need to be treated fairly, not just coffee, other goods as well. Everyone needs to be treated fairly and things need to be exported properly. Now, what exactly is ethically sourced coffee? All right, well, there's some different types of ethically sourced coffee. The first one we're going to look at is Fair Trade. Now, Fair Trade USA is a non-profit organization that certifies goods like coffee, chocolate, and sugar, making sure that products are made according to a set of strict standards that encourage environmental sustainability, as well as ensuring that the people involved in production were treated and compensated fairly. And that's a quote that comes from foodrepublic.com. Now, Fair Trade was started so that small farmers could have green coffee sold at a certain price, that as long as they met so many ethical standards, in theory, fair trade sounds great. But over the years, this idea of fair trade has changed a lot. So the main problem with Fair Trade USA is when they allowed a number of co-ops to still be considered fair trade, even though they didn't meet those same standards. So you had all this coffee going out that had a sticker for fair trade printed right on the label, and it wasn't really fair trade. It wasn't met with those qualifications. It didn't have those standards, and the price that was paid for it wasn't even premium. So this comes from Rodney North, a spokesperson for the oldest fair trade company. It said, "A big part of the rift in the fair trade movement has been over Fair Trade USA's unilateral decision to change the rules and launch what they called Fair Trade for All. They're now willing to certify not only the farmer co-ops, but the big plantation the co-ops compete against." And that quote comes from Food Republic as well. Now, these decisions have not been made solely by Fair Trade USA, but the large corporations, your Folgers, your 8 O'Clock Coffee, your Maxwell House, all those of the world, those had a huge impact on this decision. And those corporations, they don't care about the farmers. They don't care about the families. They don't care about the water. They don't care about the soil. They care about the green. And I don't mean green coffee. I mean green money. That's all they care about. Now, ethical coffee has moved in a different direction. Fair trade isn't where ethicalness is known now. So, now that we have an idea of where fair trade coffee came from and where it has gone, we can now look into the direction ethically that it's going. So, now, where it's going is something that is called direct trade. Now, with direct trade, it's the idea is that direct trade, where smaller roasters, Starbucks, I believe, is one of the founding ones of this. was Counterculture Coffee in Durham, North Carolina, and Intelligentsia Coffee, which is out of Chicago, Illinois. Now, these roasters decided that to just skip everything altogether, the middleman, everything, and go straight to origin. So they've gone straight to the farms, met with the farmers, the cherry pickers, the ones that push the coffee out on the drying beds and in the washing rack, and they just spend time with them, create relationships with them, eat their food, just really have a relationship with these farmers. And at the same time, they're paying a premium for those coffees. And there's even coffee roasters that come out with a transparency report, as they call it. And what that does is it shows what they have paid, exactly what they paid for the green coffee over that year, that quarter, whatever the case may be. So, some other coffee companies of them besides Counterculture and Intelligentsia. Tim Wendelboe out of Norway, 49th Parallel out of Canada. We got Verve Coffee Roasters out of Santa Cruz, California. We got Stone Creek Coffee Roasters out of Milwaukee. You've got Hart Coffee Roasters out of Portland, Oregon. You've got, Irving Farm Coffee Roasters out of New York. And then Madcap Coffee Company out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And that came from Spreads.com. All right, now, along with direct trade comes one other thing. And it's a little different. There's still a middleman, but that middleman has the same exact standards as direct trade relationships and the standards that different coffee roasters have implemented. Now, mind you, one other thing. Direct trade, there's no set standards for direct trade. The roasters that believe in direct trade and have those standards set, they are normally going to be similar, very similar, but they do vary. There's no direct trade board. This is a kind of a organic idea that came out in the specialty coffee community. But so with the importer, so there's different importers that share these same standards, but they can go to origin in place of a roaster that may be starting out, or just doesn't have the financial means of going to Colombia or Africa or wherever. So a couple of those companies are Atlas Coffee Importers, Ally Coffee, Onyx Coffee, Cafe Imports, and Royal Coffee. Now, their standards are, like I said, exactly the same. I mean, these aren't things that are taken lightly. These small roasters that don't have the finances, they meet with these companies, they find out what their standards are, what they're going to do at origin, and then the decisions are made. But we've got two different ways with ethically sourced coffee that doesn't follow the rules of fair trade. Direct trade, and then direct trade but by import with the middleman. Alright, so let's get down to why this all should matter. Why should you care what's in your cup of coffee and how it got there? How it was in every aspect of it goes. So we've done direct trade, fair trade, and now we're getting down to why it matters for you. Okay, I believe that we should care because the conditions that so many conventional coffee farms, non-fair trade, that's when I say conventional, I mean non-fair trade. Conventional, Folgers, Pete's, what have you, people that's not fair trade or not direct trade. Depends how you want to look at it. So, as far as working conditions and the price that is paid for the coffee at times, to me, it's downright disgusting. Now, especially coffee roasters can go into those same farms and completely change everything for those farms. There's even stories I've heard of Madcap Coffee for one. They were this farm that had a beautiful cup of coffee, beautiful crop, and they went into there and they were paying. Their coffee was being thrown into a blend. No idea from who, being thrown in a blend. And Madcap was able to take that coffee, make it a single origin, and just turn that complete farm around. So that's what I mean by how specialty coffee comes in and transforms things. So let's see. So coffee goes through so many hands before it reaches the consumer, and we're willing to put our money towards those coffees that are ethically sourced. That those hands, they're not machines, they're hands. Those are humans, and we need to take that into account when we're deciding what kind of coffee we need to buy. Because they need to be treated equally and fairly, just as we expect to be treated equally and fairly here in the United States. We have them made here. We're treated equally and fairly in our jobs. We're paid proper. Shouldn't they be paid proper as well? Now, why would we just want the cheapest coffee available? And then beg the question, why is coffee so cheap? Well, this isn't really for this discussion, but Folgers and a lot of the big, huge companies, they knock out everywhere they can. They knock out a human being to cut cost. They, instead of actual cherry pickers with a human being that picks the cherry off the tree, no, they use a machine. Really think that's good for your coffee? All that oil and grease and whatever that's on a machine? I doubt it. So, last thing here. Now the question of why do people actually buy fair trade over conventional coffee? Well, there was a study that was recently done, and the results were actually surprised the researchers. Now, this comes from those researchers from dailycoffeenews.com. Contrary to expectations, neither purchasing in public nor exposure to information about the difference between the regular coffee supply chain and fair trade production practices significantly affected the odds of choosing fair trade coffee over conventional coffee. Neither did income or engagement in social and political causes or activities. So, let me tell you a little bit about this research they did. So, a group of people got together and they got people from different types of backgrounds, different income backgrounds, different social backgrounds, people that knew about fair trade coffee, that didn't know about fair trade coffee. They even showed a video to one that knew about, to show them what fair trade coffee was, didn't show the video to the other, gave them $20 to spend on coffee. The bags had no branding on them, no nothing, just, I believe it was fair trade only and conventional coffee. And more people all across the board, no matter their income, their social engagement, their knowing about fair trade coffee or not knowing about fair trade coffee, they all went for the fair trade coffee. More went for the fair trade coffee anyways than the ones that went for the the conventional coffee. So they did notice a difference in there were more females that went for the fair trade coffee, and of course, as figures, people that were just shown a video of fair trade coffee practices and whatnot were also deemed more to go for the fair trade coffee. So, after seeing the results of that study, is it too hard to believe that maybe the simplified answer to this question is because it's the right thing to do? I don't think it is. We want quality and we want people to be treated right. That's not too much to ask. We just have to put the money forth for these people to be treated fairly and equally and right. And lastly, on why consumers buy fair trade coffee seems to stem largely from this last quote from Daily Coffee News as well. While the study itself goes into much greater detail, the big takeaway is that education and awareness of the often harsh realities of the coffee trade are the greatest drivers of ethical consumption. So, what we're doing here, I'm educating you, trying to tell you why we should buy fair trade coffee, why we should buy direct trade coffee, why ethically sourced coffee matters. So, in conclusion, again, we've gone over direct trade coffee, fair trade coffee, why you should buy direct trade or fair trade coffee. Now, there's coming a time in our culture, again, where we really need to sit back and care more about the exported goods in our country, not only where they are coming from, but what conditions are the workers under during every phase of the production. Now, again, what is the difference between fair trade and direct trade, and why all this matters? That's the whole goal of this whole speech. Now, shouldn't we know, as the generations that want more and expect ethically sourced coffee, along with other goods, someone has to take a stance for those farms and everyone involved, because very often those farmers don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. They don't have a choice what we do over here. They don't. They just make good coffee, and that's all that matters. But they should be treated fairly for what they do. So I hope that this speech has made you second guess what you're going to buy when you go to the grocery store or go to your local coffee shop or what have you. because I really just think that we as a generation can change the coffee that is being made and just change the coffee culture around where everything is fair trade, everything is direct trade, and there's no such thing as conventional coffee because we have a choice. And those people that are creating that coffee for us, they have a choice as well. And they do this without question. And shouldn't they be treated fairly and equally and right? I believe so. So I hope this has changed your mind. I hope you make the right decision. Thank you.